Killed in St. Anne police operation. VAS turns key on rural bus system. Now for Tech Pulse, we explore gadgets and applications that make driving fun this summer. In the business report, what happens if Jamaica transitions to a green economic model? While in sports, ready or not, CVM Sports explores Sabina Park's readiness ahead of day and night test match. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Tuesday, July 8, 2025. I'm Nika Lewis. Thanks so much for joining us. Private and public sector leaders from across the Caribbean met for a breakfast conference hosted by the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, the PSOJ, at Sandals, Montego Bay this morning. They discussed tariffs, shipping costs, and the future of regional trade under the CARICOM single market and economy. Raymond Morrison has that story.
Morning broke with an agenda from private sector stakeholders, a call for deeper regional collaboration. The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, hosted its regional private sector leadership breakfast, uniting stakeholders from across the Caribbean to tackle pressing issues surrounding trade, shipping costs, and economic integration.
The United States America First policy is a wake-up call. The first thing that we experienced was this threat of increasing shipping costs by the U.S. Trade Representative saying that they were going to charge additional fees to shipping companies. We had Zoom calls with over 500 people on it to discuss this issue. We were able to spend time with heads in special meetings to brief them, wrote papers, made lots of appeals, and we dodged a bullet, right? Shipping costs to this region were spared an extra $1,500 to $2,500 per container by the collective efforts in this room. And I raise that example as really important for the paradigm of collaboration that we can have and forge going forward.
PSOJ President Metri Siaga agrees, underscoring that now, more than ever, the region must turn inward and support its own.
We need to look to each other more. Businesses must start seeing regional neighbors as partners, not just competitors. Whether it's a Jamaican manufacturer teaming up with a Bayesian distributor or a St. Lucian tech firm building solutions with a Trinidadian developer, these are the kinds of linkages that drive regional value chains. We've seen it work in other trading blocks, and we too must make it work.
And with Jamaica's Prime Minister being recently appointed Chair of CARICOM, Dr. Andrew Holness reinforced regional unity is key to unlocking true economic potential.
Jamaica remains steadfast in our belief that this is essential for achieving economies of scale, improving competitiveness, and transforming lives and livelihoods for our people. And at this point, I would say that, yes, individually our economies are small, but collectively, the sum of our parts are greater than the whole.
It's understood that Tuesday's breakfast served as a platform for dialogue on regional trade reform, with leaders from both public and the private sectors sharing perspectives on the way forward. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
Talks are continuing about Tuesday's major shakeup in Caribbean media as Digisel shuts down two of its most recognizable brands. Loop News, which has ceased operations with immediate effect, and regional sports powerhouse Sportsmax, set to air its final broadcast in just weeks. Raheem White has more in this report.
It's the end of an era for regional, digital, and sports media. Telecom giants Digisel today confirmed it has shut down Loop News effective immediately, marking the sudden end of a platform that, for over a decade, redefined online news coverage across the Caribbean. Launched in 2014, Loop had become a popular source for breaking news, lifestyle, politics, and entertainment. Its newsroom, teams across Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and more now disband. Digisel also announced that Sportsmax will wind down operations with its final broadcast scheduled for August 8. The network, which first hit the airwaves in 2002, had been a staple for regional sports fans, broadcasting everything from Caribbean Premier League cricket to Champs, Premier League football, and Olympic coverage. The closure comes as Digisel pivots away from media and focuses on enterprise IT solutions, including cybersecurity and cloud services. That transition was accelerated following its recent acquisition of regional tech firm Simtai. The company says affected employees will be supported through transition packages and legal protocols, but the sudden exit of two major content hubs has left viewers, fans, and journalists alike stunned. As the countdown begins to Sportsmax's final sign-off and the Loop's pages to go quiet, the region's media landscape faces a new chapter without two of its most recognizable players. Raheem White for CVM News.
Two men are dead following a gun battle with police during a pre-dawn operation in Gravel Hill, Limehall, St. Anne. Law enforcement officers acting on a warrant say they went to a two-bedroom house in search of Ricardo Hemmings, also known as Black Oil, who was wanted in the St. James Police Division for shooting with intent and other serious offences. According to police sources, the officers knocked on the front door, but two men exited through the back. One, who was reportedly armed, opened fire. The police returned fire, injuring one of the men. The other escaped. The officers then entered the house through the same rear entrance, where they were reportedly met with further gunfire from another man inside. The police responded and the man was shot. Both men were taken to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, where they were pronounced dead. A .45 Taurus pistol with a magazine containing 3 live rounds was recovered at the scene. Indicom has been notified and an investigation is underway. There's growing concern in Hanover over how road repairs and drain cleaning contracts are being handled. Mayor of Lucy, Sheridan Samuels, says he's questioned whether the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, is overstepping its mandate, especially as money earmarked for municipal duties is allegedly bypassing the local authority. Zor Grant has the details.
Mayor of Lucy Sheridan Samuels has raised serious concerns about what he describes as a breakdown in local governance and proper resource distribution. He says members of parliament are struggling to repair major roadways like the stretch from Great River to Negril, yet are now being tasked with fixing parochial roads that fall under the jurisdiction of local government.
Members of parliament can't even repair the central government roads, which are the A1 roads, the road from Great River to the Green. There are roads in the inner part of the constituency that are A1 roads and they can't fix them. But the government is now giving them the responsibility to fix local government roads, which are parochial roads.
Samuels also questioned the operations of the NSWMA, claiming there's evidence of what he called a feeding tree where the agency may be stepping outside its core responsibilities. The mayor says he requested a formal report at a previous council meeting demanding clarity on whether the NSWMA's primary function is waste construction or infrastructure contracting.
I found out that there's a feeding tree in one of the agencies of government. It's WMA. And I've asked some questions at our council meeting. Give me a report because I want to know what is your core duty. Is it for you to collect garbage? Or is it for you to give out that roads and clean drains?
He revealed that a letter confirmed the NSWMA's core duty remains the collection of solid waste. However, he alleges funds are still being channeled through the agency for other works, bypassing the municipal corporation entirely.
And just after they take so long, such a long time, I saw a letter that they sent to me, stating that the poor duty is so that garbage, but at times they give out work and the contractor will supervise the work. How can the contractor supervise the work that you responsible for? You don't have the expertise in doing all of that. But because I said to you that the members of parliament are the ones that take the picture and send it to you, you know things you can fool us by writing to us and telling us that, look, our core duty is that, but we are not doing that. All they are doing, they're not sending the money to the municipal corporation. They're sending it to NSWM. And they do have to do with the work. And you are collecting the money.
Samuels insists the issue isn't hypothetical, stating that in his own division, he's witnessed the NSWMA receive funds without delivering the corresponding services.
Congrats, I have Steve is happening in my division. Steve is happening in my division, so I can speak freely about it.
Zogrand reporting for CVM News.
Through his own statistics to update and steady the first ever rural school bus system after the opposition poked a few holes ahead of a grand structured phased rollout which is still in transit.
In essence, all 110 school buses will be here by the end of July.
47 small 32-seaters, 38 mid-sized buses with seat 54 each, and 25 buses designed to seat 72 each. And with an alarming percentage of students who reportedly expressed feeling least safe and secure when commuting, claims of old buses obviously also triggered the minister.
We did not buy buses based on pictures. We sent a team from the JUTC along with the supplier to go and inspect and select the buses that we deemed and sought suitable for Jamaica. Therefore, the units are inspected by both overseas and local experts whose confirmation of them meeting the required standard is obtained prior to the admission of a bus to our fleet. Our children's safety is our number one priority. This is why the Jamaica Rural School Bus Program is utilizing the gold standard of American-made school buses.
On board the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch in the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Safety and Security in Schools Unit in the Ministry of Education and Youth, pointing to an ongoing process of collaboration which involves consultations with stakeholders in the schools, including principals, to arrive at critical decisions such as best routes. So what of concerns about displacing private operators?
I have not heard one cry from any public passenger association or even the operators themselves, because they live it, they know it. And the fact is, if I can take off 28,000 students off of their routes so that they can take that much more adults paying full fare, then it is a win-win for both the government, the transport operators, the parents, the teachers, and the children.
Time, best practice, discipline, accountability, and responsibility by parents and students are other common threads to keep what's being described as a game changer revved up and on course.
I wish to reiterate that the plans for the rollout of the school bus system remain firmly on track for September morning 2025.
Doors on the wrong side will be made right, he adds, for the left-hand drive buses. Curlin Brown, CVM News.
The People's National Party's bus tour continues, and this time a stop was made in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth, demanding that the JLP calls the election.
PNP caretaker for Northeast St. Elizabeth and attorney-at-law Zalika Jess says
the Member of Parliament for Northwestern Manchester, Michael Phillips, gave his response to the predictions made by the JLP for the outcome of the 2025 general elections.
And all I have to say to those who say, Northwest now come back to PNP. Call it, Andrew, call it, so we can show you that Northwest Manchester is going to stay in the winning columns of the People's National Party.
MP Phillips also expressed his take on the promises made by the Jamaica Labour Party and condemned them as untrustworthy.
What him couldn't do in a 10 years, he might promise the people them, say him gonna do it in a 1 year. Can you trust him? All of a sudden, he might go bring water to Manchester. But I have a warning for him. Because them bringing the water, and them a color the water. So if you're not a GLP control constituency, you can't get no water. Look how long you have had the show up here, and a GLP in a power, and you still can't get no water.
While the PNP representative highlighted considerable work that the JLP has done in specific areas within the constituency, he was of the opinion that it was the right amount of energy being put in the wrong place. He went on to make promises of his own for the improvement of the constituency.
Them spend $150 million add additional classroom at Homewood when Homewood was not in need. And the only reason why them do that, the only reason why them do that, I don't have to say nothing more. But I am telling you that Christiana High and Mile Gully will be priority on our People's National Party government.
General Secretary of the People's National Party, Dr. Dayton Campbell, who was also in attendance, called attention to the impact of an increase in food importation on the domestic agricultural sector.
When they came to office in 2016, the food importation bill was at $830 million US, and it has now gone to $1.6 billion US. It has doubled under this government. It has doubled, and we are importing things that can be produced right here in Jamaica. Northeast Manchester is one of those parishes that can produce Irish potato well. Why is it that Jamaica is not putting our farmers to work to produce Irish potato so we can take that out of the food importation basket? Why aren't we producing enough onions so we can take that out of the food importation basket? Their focus is to give friends and cronies import licenses, and they are affecting the local farmers. It is not okay, and it needs to be fixed. And the next PNP government, led by Mark Jefferson Golding, will fix agriculture so we can benefit our local farmers and feed our people properly.
Dr. Dayton Campbell also expressed his wishes that the same support that met the National Health Fund (NHF) and the Tourism Enhancement Fund (TEF) when they were established by the PNP will be behind the fund dedicated to developing the agricultural sector if they are placed in power.
We will put in place the Agricultural Development Fund so that local agriculture can finally get treated properly. We will get that money not from any new taxes, but from taking a portion of the import duties that they charge currently when you bring food into the country.
Crystal Williams,